when I think about the future of financial services, I think about how platforms are going to be leveraging financial service, typical traditional client products and services with commerce and with advice that actually is more holistic. And so when I think about long-term, multi-generational impact that financial services have, it's about combining day-to-day experiences and what we're buying and what our financial needs are with how we actually interact with each other as humans today. So we see a huge growth of enabled commerce applications that are really P2P based in China with Tencent, with Baidu, and with other applications, and this is just a natural fit for how things in the rest of the world are really going to go. We see PayPal and other large platforms really evolving to be that connection to commerce and that day-to-day connection to what we buy with what we buy with. So the bank versus fintech collaboration and this move toward understanding why someone would gravitate toward a fintech solution is really back down to what happened to banks. What happened to banks, when we used to actually have a full relationship with them, and now through a breakdown of products and services, large banks have said, well, your mortgage is over here, we might have a credit card with you here, your bucket of savings and other wealth accounts are over here. We've broken up that as an industry and actually separated and segregated that relationship so much that we've allowed fintech solutions to really come into being in the last 15 years. And so when I work with startups, I want to ask them first, what are they actually trying to solve for the customer? And as we see platforms arise across different elements of payments, of the way that we interact with chatbots and other types of solutions for consumers, what we're really seeing is that fintech is really evolving much more quickly to solve day-to-day needs than banks are. So we need to learn from fintech companies. We need to understand how they are evolving to serve the customer, and we need to collaborate and partner with the best of them in order for banks of size to remain in the industry. Absolutely. I mean, it's very rare to have someone like a Venmo or a PayPal break through and become almost as important as one of the financial networks like a Visa or MasterCard. And so if you're not able to scale, this is why you need bank partnerships. So it's a matter of how do you build trust, how do you build scale, how do you continue to reduce the acquisition cost of new customers. In many ways that small fintechs are doing that is through a consortium of relationships, through resellers that are core bank providers or IBMs of the world, and this is really the future of partnerships in financial services. I think the biggest piece that banks really need to let go a bit is that it's the customer's data and it's the customer's willingness to share how they bank today with outside entities that go beyond sort of the core presence of the financial brand in their own mind. Banks are a little full of themselves about how central to the lives of their customers they really are. When the average consumer household has more than 7 different banking relationships, I would say that there's probably at least 2 or 3 fintech relationships evolving there as well. I think it has a lot to do with hiring, and I think it also has a lot to do with who they're retaining. I have folks that I've talked to within banks in my past that are so excited about what's happening outside of the bank itself, and they bring that inside, and again, it's a leadership team that maybe has evolved over 20 years in terms of what their experience was as they came up from the ranks. They need to be accepting of new ideas that are coming from different parts of the bank. One of the most exciting groups that I actually worked with in the past inside banks were part of the regulatory and compliance groups. They are super excited about making their own role more efficient. Bank executives need to have more acceptance about these challenges to their revenue streams and the traditional model of banking because it's changing every single day. A little bit of patience, and I think the key is to get embedded within other solutions that are critical to banks' infrastructure. Again, whether it's a payment application, payment network, whether it's a core banking provider, whether it's a digital consumer application front end for a series of banks. It's hard when I talk to startups when they want to go after the top 5 banks to say, you might want to go to the next tier where you're going after the 27th largest or the 50th largest and get that as an anchor client and then go and get many, many more. So it's really about proving your solution out and having that patience to actually make several banks really successful with your application.